Hi, everyone. I'm going to welcome you to our afternoon session on getting to know the College of Education and Human Services. I'm Bob Frost. I'm the chair of the Recreation Department. And with me so far today is Marcel Davis. He's going to help moderate, and he's our academic advisor for this program. I'll let Marcel introduce himself or say anything at this point.
Hello, everyone. As Bob mentioned, my name is Marcel Davis. I'm an academic advisor in the College of Education and Human Services. And I've been at CMU since 2005, coming here as a student. If you have any questions during this session, you can drop them in the WebEx chat box, and I will answer those there.
Thank you, Marcel. And then our second person.
And Bob, I'm on here too. I joined in, so.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to introduce Jamie Brown. She is our lead faculty member for our leadership minor.
Hello. Hope everyone's doing well on this stormy day. I've been at Central since 1999 in various capacities. I've worked in administration and student life and res life and multicultural academic student services and most recently academic advising. So I was happy to help students. And I oversee the leadership minor, which is housed in the RPL department. And so I get to work with great faculty and help advise students. So hope everyone's doing awesome today on this really chilly July day in Michigan. So.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm delighted to be able to share some of the exciting things about our recreation program with you. Let me start off with a few program facts that we can begin with. One is that our program has over 750 majors and minors, which makes it one of the largest recreation programs in the country. All of our faculty members are not only educators, but they're former practitioners. So that means when you get in our classes, you not only learn from books, but you learn from those persons' experiences. Last of all, our programs are all big believers in practical learning and active learning experiences. So our students will consistently be placed in volunteer experiences, hands-on assignments, and every one of our students will do at least one internship, professional internship at the end of their program under the credential recreation professional in that area. So just broad background information for you. Let me start with the specifics about our program. Let me begin with our recreation therapy program or our therapeutic recreation program. This is a program that's training you to work with persons with disabilities. In this program, we cover a broad range of disabilities. We go from pediatrics to geriatrics, from physical medicine to behavioral health, from substance abuse to long-term care. The common denominator in this program is that you are going to learn to use recreation, activities, and play as a way to improve their functional skills and add to their quality of life. Students in these programs might likely end up working or interning in a variety of different settings. Some of them may be hospital or clinical type of settings. A couple examples might be Detroit Children's Hospital or DeVos in Grand Rapids or Cincinnati Children's. They might be in rehabilitation settings working with traumatic brain injury, stroke, spinal cord injuries, in mental health settings, working with psychiatric individuals, or in some of our long-term care settings where we're working with older adults with a variety of different needs. Other options that might happen for our students in this area, they may like the idea of working in a specialty program, which might include things like disability sports. If you're not aware, Mount Pleasant and CMU is the home of Michigan Special Olympics. That's a great option for us, but we've got other disability sports programs we connect with, as well as some specific disability camps. At the end of our program, all of our students sit for a national certification exam, become nationally certified. Our passing rate is about 95%. So that's a key success for us. The last feature of this program that's noteworthy is that this proves to be a great undergraduate program for those students looking at advanced health professions like occupational therapy, physical therapy, physician assistants. So If this sounds like a program of interest for you, you might look into our rec therapy program. Our next program is our environmental recreation education and recreation program. This is for those of you who grew up and your parents couldn't keep you inside. You couldn't wait to be outside. You couldn't wait to do activities. You couldn't get enough of nature. So in this program, there's kind of three particular areas of focus. One of those is the kind of more traditional parks area that you think of. So it would be our national park systems, like Yellowstone. It could be our state-related systems, like the Sleeping Bear National Lakeshore. And these students might end up interning to become conservation officers, park rangers, or even park managers. The other traditional part for us in this program is the camp setups. And in those cases, our students might intern as camp programmers, camp directors, camp administrators in the traditional camp settings. Second area of focus for this program is more the nature environmental side. These are for those of you who not only like nature, but like to involve others or bring nature to other persons. So this is, in this case, you might end up as a park interpreter, you might work at a nature center running educational programs, or you might even be at a zoo doing interpretive programs related to animals. The last feature related to this particular program is those who have the high outdoor adventure interest. These are the students that might end up doing leading trips and leading programs that might include whitewater rafting, sea kayaking, hiking, fishing, hunting. Any of those options fit into the third category of our program. Again, so if this area sounds that interests you or piques your interest, make sure you check into our outdoor and environmental recreation program. Our last program is our Recreation and Event Management program. This is our largest program, and 1 year ago was recognized as being the best undergraduate event management training program in the country by the International Festival and Events Association. But again, this is for the person who loves working with people, but likes orchestrating and managing events and working with those facilities that do so. Some of our students end up in the big event world, like the National Cherry Festival in Traverse City or the American Music Awards down in Nashville. All of our students like something a little smaller or a little more local, so they might work with their local Parks and Recreation department, delivering some of those programs that you grew up participating in, t-ball, swimming, daddy-daughter dances, kinds of things of that nature, or even, for example, working with our Miracle Network set of partners where our students are setting up and orchestrating those miracle activities for those participants. Another option for this area might be those who like the commercial side of recreation. In this case, it might be a resort. And our students will end up at Grand Traverse Resort. They'll end up at Kiowa Island Resorts. Or they might even end up in the major theme parks. Disney, for example, we have a domestic Disney program, and Disney actually hires more CMU students than any other college or university in the country. So if these kind of programs sound appealing to you, we're going to encourage you to check into those further. We've got websites that give you more information that you can follow up with. But let me, at this point, turn this over to Jamie Brown, and she can talk to you more specifically about her interdisciplinary leadership minor. So, Jamie.
Thanks, Bob. I always love hearing more about my own programs and RPL because it makes me want to go outside and plan some events and go back to that. But I get to work with our amazing leadership minor, and leadership's a really big part of Central. We get a lot of students that come to campus who've been involved in high school, whether it's with student council, with athletics, with volunteering, with nonprofit organizations, with yearbook, anything they've been involved with their churches, other organizations. And so a lot of students come to campus who want to be involved in leadership. And so we have our Leadership Advancement Scholarship Program through the Leadership Institute. We have a lot of other, our MAC, Multicultural Academic Scholars, and some other programs that really get students here interested in being leaders. And so we have the leadership minor, which kind of helps us fuse together academics with involvement. And so this picture here is actually from our really cool Future Educators Learning Community, which is part of the residential college within EHS. And we have students who take LDR 200, which is our Introduction to Leadership, HDF 100, which is Human Growth and Development, and then EDU 107, which is Introduction to Teaching, for students who are interested in becoming teachers but want to learn kind of how to be a better leader in the classroom. So leadership minor, open to all majors and minors, and a really big part of Central. So just that's kind of our fun picture there. So next slide. Or slide, next PowerPoint here. But one of the top rated things that employers look for is leadership. And so there's a national organization that looks at, it's NACE, and it's a National Association of College Employers, and they look at what leadership skills and other skills that employers are looking for. And they really connect that with career readiness. So you think about, well, I can learn how to use Excel, I can learn how to, do different things with programs on campus, but what interpersonal skills do I have? And they look for communication skills, they look for writing skills, they look for leadership, working as a team, being able to problem solve are things that we look at. And the leadership minor is one of the largest minors on campus. So we have students from all over campus. So even if you end up going and joining a different college, you can still minor in leadership because it's interdisciplinary. And so we have students, I just had a student who's a music theater major who did leadership as his minor. I've had students who are engineering majors, education majors. Probably the most common is our recreation and parks and leisure, political science, psychology, communication are probably some of our top majors that minor in leadership. But we've had every college, almost every single major, music majors, everybody decide to minor in leadership. So it's housed in our department, and it's a 24 credit hour minor. So we have an Introduction to Leadership class, LDR 200. So if you're interested in that as an incoming student, look at LDR 200 in the fall or the spring. We do a field study in leadership. So we like to model ourselves after the RPL department overall, that we do hands-on experiences. And so students complete a 100-hour field study in leadership. And then we developed a couple years ago, we looked at what was missing, and we felt like we needed to look a little bit more at contemporary issues in leadership. So in that class, we do case studies, kind of look at what's going on in the world. This past spring, we talked about the pandemic. We talked about political leadership, a lot of different areas that are impacting us now within leadership. And then in the communications part, there's communications and leadership class. And then students take a philosophy class and then 9 credits of electives. And a lot of those electives are also university program classes or other classes that might be on your major or minor. And so a lot of students will find that they can complete this minor with only needing to take the core classes because the other electives count. Or even some of your advanced placement AP or IB classes that you receive credit for might also count as a general education course. And we have classes both online and in-seat. Our in-seat's very interactive, and so we do a lot in class. And we really try and get students interacting and doing things with each other to kind of develop their leadership skills and kind of see how that connects to leadership theory and practice. So not just I'm a leader or I want to be a better leader, because we believe that everybody can learn about leadership. And you don't have to be a super leader to minor in leadership. We have students that are coming to campus and get more engaged once they're here, or students that come in with a lot. And then our recent graduates, we have students that have gone on to all different areas. One of the students I just had finished up the minor this past spring actually got 2 full ride offers to law school. And we have students that are in medical school, a lot of students going to higher education, recreation, business, HR, human resources, and a lot of other areas. A couple students that just completed the minor also are going on to careers in Washington, D.C. So one is actually doing an internship, I hope, if it didn't get canceled because of COVID. She's in Washington, D.C. this summer and fall. Working with the upcoming election. And so she said she really felt like the leadership minor complemented that very well. So we get students all over the place minoring in leadership. Whenever I put a call out to alums to come back into my classes and chat, I get a lot of them that are interested in coming back, and they often talk about how they get asked about the leadership minor when they apply for jobs, and they talk about their curriculum. So yeah, so that's the leadership minor. And if you're interested in it, please let me know. This is all of our contact information here for our department. So my information is there. I'm Jamie Brown again. Linda Minez is our outdoor environmental recreation. Tim Ottoman's our point person on recreation event management. And then Bob Frost, who you just heard from, is our point person on therapeutic. recreation. And then our college website with our department is listed there as well. So feel free. We're very hands-on faculty in our department. We try and get students connected with us early on and pretty casual first name basis with our students. So come on over and see us in Finch, and you won't want to leave because you'll love it so much.
So is it the time where I ask questions now? All right. So thank you all for thank you, Jamie and Bob, for those presentations. We did have a couple questions in the chat here. Dylan had a question. It looks like one of our other academic advisors in the college, Christine LaBelle, answered the question. But the question was, is there a suggested minor that goes along with the therapeutic recreation major? And I think Bob.
Yep, that's my area. You know, there really is not. We value the practical experience so much that in many cases we'll actually substitute a second internship in place of a minor. Now, if the student has a very strong interest in a graduate program, then it makes a lot of sense to build a minor or build classes towards that graduate process. That could be for occupational therapy, or it could be for psychology or social work as well. But we can, when we meet with the students, we're happy to talk about the add option, whether it's a minor or whether it's a second internship. We were more than happy to discuss that as we get into the program with our students.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob. Now, I know I think you talked a little bit about internships. Could you talk more about job shadow opportunities to learn more from for students interested in RPF?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're just a big believer that you can't get everything you need to know from a webinar session or from a website. So we're really anxious to try to connect interested students with practitioners in our field. And one of the great things is that we know that 2/3 of the recreation professionals in Michigan are former CHIPs. So it's a great way for us to reach out to those persons and say, hey, here's a contact. Get a hold of this person. They're more than happy to have you come and visit with them or talk with them and say, what does this job look like? What do you like about it? What's the day-to-day routine? And if you're even tactful, you can ask them the parents' favorite question of how much will I get paid? But we love the job shadowing. You can contact any of those persons that you listed, and we'd be happy to try to connect you to a shadow option that might be in your geographic area.
Awesome, Bob. One more question. So what do students like best about the program that you found that are found in the Department of Recreation, Parks and Leisure Services?
Yeah, I'll start that off, and then maybe Jamie can chime in. But part of it is what we've already talked about. I think the students really like the hands-on learning. Most of our students are practical students. They constantly come back and say, you know, I didn't really know how important that was until I actually saw it in my volunteer work or in my internship. Then it begins to sink in for them. So they really love the fact that they're not just getting book learning. They love the fact that they're seeing it and experiencing it and trying it on. And that practical learning is a big feature for us. I think the second thing is perhaps what Jamie alluded to, and that is kind of the world of Finch. And that's our own particular building, and all of our students will take almost all of their classes in this building. All of our faculty are in this building and have open door to students. Most of the student clubs meet in our building. So after a while, they begin to adopt Finch as being the academic home away from home. And I think students talk about that a lot too.
Yeah, I think the hands-on piece is a big part. For example, like in our recreation event management classes, students make up a hypothetical event and plan it. So they do, like, you know, we'll see these all semester at the end, and it's, you know, the National Society of Lighthouse Keepers or something, and they'll make up a fake organization and do a club meeting for it, or like a dinner, a formal presentation. Students in our outdoor program will help people come in and use our adventure center and our rock wall. Students will go out and do hands-on volunteering. And I think that's one thing that's really cool. And I hear that from alums, even teaching more of my focuses in leadership versus RPL, but students actually get to do things. So when they get somewhere, they've made a flyer, they've made a brochure, they've plan an event, they put something on, they've done fundraising even on a small scale, and that really helps students, I think, really in an applied sense versus getting it from a textbook. And with leadership, same thing. We do, students do a field study, like students will help plan an event. Students will help with their RSOs and leadership development. I had a student a couple years ago who was a computer science major, and for his leadership field study, he went and helped a company start their new computer software program because they never had somebody kind of do the hands-on IT stuff. So it was leadership, but it was in his field. We get a lot of students on campus that are really involved in leaders that are in Student Government Association, Greek Life, many of our student activities and organizations like Program Board and Siblings Weekend. And so they're really integrating leadership with what they're doing as students. And so when you kind of see how things work, you go, oh, there's actually a theory for that. And that's what makes sense. And so I think that's something a lot of students like. And we're a pretty casual department. So I think that makes it very personal. Like when students ask me to write a letter of recommendation, I can talk about that student. It's not, who are you and when did I have you in class? And I think a lot of our faculty would say the exact same thing, that they really get to know our students.
Awesome, awesome. So, Jamie, what if I'm interested in a minor, but I don't know my major? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. We get a lot of students that come in and will tell me from orientation that they're interested in leadership and they're still debating what they want to do for their major. And so you can sign a minor at any time. You can start on the minor at any time. So like LDR 200 is our intro class. But if you're like, I'm kind of exploring, you can always take a couple classes for your major first and start on the minor or start on it as a sophomore. And it's okay to explore because a lot of times students know they're interested in something, but they don't know exactly what they want to do. And you might find some exploration with taking some of your general education or minor classes as well. So yeah, so if you're interested in leadership, you don't have to know your major for sure to be interested in a minor. And that goes for any program on campus, that you can be interested in something without knowing your major.
Thank you very much. I think that's all the questions we have.
Any
Excellent.
questions from anybody that's on here today? Anything at all? I see a lot of some students and some of our academic advisors, but anything you want to ask about campus or anything? You can type it or unmute yourself.
Awesome. Well, I think Bob and Jamie are probably going to hang out for a few more minutes yet with Marcel. So if you have any questions, be sure to add those into the chat yet. Otherwise, we thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Bob and Jamie. We so greatly appreciate your time. And thank you also, Marcel.
Always happy to meet. And feel free to email any one of us too. So if you think of something later, shoot any one of us an email, take a screenshot of that, or find us online. So